Hello everybody, Ryan with Grind Knife Sharpening today to talk about a topic that I haven't really seen much coverage on, and it's can we thin a chef's knife with a jig? Can it be done? Should it be done? What do the results look like? Are they any good? Are they trash? I think overall you guys will be pretty pleased with the result. But yes, you can thin a knife with a knife jig. We can thin it a number of different ways. We can thin it on the belts. We can thin it on Resin Bond Diamond Wheels and very effectively hollow grind production knives. We can do it freehand on the belts with our contact wheel. We are focusing on a rubber contact wheel. It has a lot of give. It allows us to kind of get away from the hollow nature and really put a nice thin on here without hollow grinding. So this knife has been butchered for a lot of different projects, and it's not a customer knife or anything like that. I actually used it as a sample knife in another video recently, and so that caused it to be real thick. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it. But there's no edge here. It's a 16th inch thick almost, and so we're into pretty thick steel, and we're gonna see what we can't do to clean it up. So let's kind of jump in. I got 120 grit Cubitron on a rubber contact wheel, Tradesman Power Strop. This can also be done on a Tradesman Apex, Edge Apex, just belts over there instead of over here, whatever you like. I've got a sponge tray here that I can use just for dipping and cooling. I'm not really worried about this particular knife, so I may not be super diligent about that because let's just see what we can do. But we'll get started, get some speed going. And we'll start off with little pressure. As opposed to sharpening, we want to make sure we try to stay pretty flat, otherwise we're going to kind of get goofy bevels. See, we can get a nice wide grind line. It's normal for it to taper a little at the tip because the tip is a fair bit thinner than it is up back here. But you can adjust your thickness at your tip by a number of things. One, a little bit more pressure. Your hand is always a little heavier where you're holding. If you're sharpening fixtured, you're always pushing harder here than you think you are compared to your tip. So a little bit of finger pressure out at the tip can really help even out that bevel out at your tip. And we've got this nice grind line here. If we come to our other side, now there's a number of questions for thinning. How thin do you go? How much steel do you remove? And without busting out a caliper and measuring everything, let your fingers be the guide. Feel a thick knife that's not cutting. Take your fingers from the spine down to the edge, and you can feel the taper. And here I can feel the taper already the entire length of the knife. Now we can see on this side, my bevel's a little thinner than it is on this side. So we need a little bit more grinding, and we need a little bit more pressure. There, it's widening right back out. We need a little bit more. We're pretty good back here. Now you can take this as artistic as you want. If you want to go up through grits and polish, you can thin Japanese knives. You can thin all kinds of stuff. But just let your fingers kind of do the talking when you're kind of getting into a realm where the knife is gonna cut. There, we're starting to look pretty good. There, we're starting to look pretty good. Now we do have a little bit of a boogered up tip, so we're gonna go ahead and bring that tip in a little bit. There, we're getting our tip back. Okay. And I always grind the tip from this side so as to not raise the tip up and introduce more arch at the tip. This knife has a big upsweep the way it is, and so we don't want to make that more pronounced. All right, so I mean, just there, we're already at about half the thickness that we were. So we're gonna go ahead and drop our speed. I am waiting on a shipment of Scotch-Brite belts from Cliff at Curry Custom Cutlery. Love getting Scotch-Brite belts from him. This is my last one, and I think fine grit. So this isn't going to have ultimate scratch removing capabilities, but it'll do a fair job. While we're still jigged, we're going to start with this, and we're just going to clean up some of what we did. It really smooths out that 120 grit nicely. I'll get into more videos where I do some thinning on some higher end knives, on some much nicer looking knives in the future. But this has just been a request of a lot of folks of, can we get some production thinning, get some life back into some chef's knives, and how quickly can we do that? So right there, we're in pretty good shape. So we're gonna take our knife out of our jig. Now honestly, the knife would function at this point if we went back and sharpened it. But we're just gonna kind of clean up some of this mess if we can. Kind of blend our thinning into the rest of the knife. I would like a medium or a coarse Scotch-Brite for this. It would make really quick work of it, but I don't know if we're gonna get all of those. I pretty well guess we're not gonna get all of those scratches out, but let's turn some speed on and see. I'm keeping my hands on the blade. I'm making sure I'm not imparting heat. This side might just be too far gone for this project, but let's see what we look like over here. Don't forget, we're going to clean up our spine. Since we ground up there, we want to clean that up, make sure there's no burrs. So now our thinning job that we had is blended in pretty well, except for where these gnarly scratches are at. I'll do some more videos again in the future with some higher end knives. I'll do some videos where we take them up and do like a full restoration. Let me see if I've got jig handy. Well, right there we've got a quick and dirty production thinning on a Columbia chef's knives. These are real heavy, real fairly cheap kitchen knives. These are just beater test knives that are banging around the truck for any time that I've got a test that I need to run. Nice and thin all along the edge. I'm not going to take this one through a full sharpening, mostly because my sponge trays and my sponges are in the house. But that's a quick and dirty sharpening, or I'm sorry, thinning. Well, let's do a little better job. Let's get up in here. Excellent, that's looking better. I'm also testing out some new camera equipment. I'm trying to get a wider field of view. I'm trying to get some better audio. I will be starting next week. I'll be working with a noise canceling mic, so some of the grinding noise shouldn't be as big of an issue. So let me know what you guys think of the new camera and audio and all of that. If you see light flickers or a black line roll across the page, I've got LED lights and they're running on a generator. The drivers in the LEDs aren't playing nice with the flicker rate of the lights and the voltage spikes of the generator. So if you see the black lines coming down across, that's all that is. If you guys have questions about the Tradesman Edge Apex, give me a phone call, drop me a Facebook message, a YouTube comment, whatever you want. On the Apex, the Power Strop, if you want me to get you a bundle built together and get you a quote, we can do that through my website or by calling or messaging me, contacting me. We have a little bit more customization options, but we can start talking about what do you need, what's good for you. We can do some one-on-ones if you want to see the machines do something in particular. But again, it's Ryan with Grind Knife Sharpening. Thanks so much